on CTV News at 5.
USA, act now!
USA! Communication breakdown. Local Iranians fear for loved ones back home.
My cabinet for Natalie, it has kind of all of her pictures.
In her memory, a mourning mother remembers her late daughter with a new book.
It's my favorite type of exercise.
And no experience necessary. A new year means new moves for these step dancing hopefuls.
The cold west wind eases up tonight, and temperatures will bounce back a bit by Tuesday afternoon.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Penopalis. Thanks for joining us. First at 5 tonight, communication breakdown. Hundreds have been killed in Iran as weeks of anti-government protests continue. A telephone and internet shutdown has made it difficult to know the full extent of what is unfolding on the ground. As CTV's Hafsa Arif reports, those with close ties to the country feel helpless as they wonder and worry about their loved ones back home. Hafsa.
That's right, Maria, which is why a protest gathered outside the U.S. consulate in Halifax today. Iranian-Canadians are calling for urgent action. They're demanding international intervention after 5 days of complete internet blackout inside Iran.
USA, action now!
Chants echoed off downtown Halifax buildings. A crowd of Iranian-Canadians waving flags and holding signs, all demanding the United States step in.
The internet shut down completely, and they are killing the people in silence, and then we cannot stand, we cannot be silent, we need to be their voice.
For many here, the blackout has severed lifelines. People haven't spoken with loved ones in nearly a week.
I don't know if they are alive or not. All my body, all my soul, all my mind and my heart is under very heavy stress.
It's been 5 days since Iran effectively disappeared from the internet. Near total communication silence as mass protests rage across the country.
We've been trying to send texts, call them through social media. There's absolutely no response. The last messages that we sent, we're just waiting for that second tick to tell us that it has been delivered, but there was no luck.
Political scientist Robert Hewish says Iran's collapsing economy, inflation, and lack of opportunity have brought people to the streets, and the blackout is a dangerous escalation.
That's usually when the heavy hand shows up and you're going to see loss of life. And with that lack of ability to record and communicate to the outside world, there's all sorts of deniability that the Iranian regime will start to put into play here.
Across Canada and around the world, Iranian diaspora communities fear the worst.
They're mass killing people right now. We don't have any information from anyone in Iran right now, and the reason that we are here today because we are asking for help.
Protesters here want the U.S. to act, but experts warn that military intervention could make things worse.
A call to arms to go in and do a regime change. The U.S. has a terrible track record of that, to do this sort of regime change. There will be resistance. There will be all sorts of conflict.
Hewish believes outside powers could help, not with bombs, but with bandwidth, starting with restoring internet access, which could support protesters inside Iran without military action.
For the protesters in Halifax, the message is simple. A blackout shouldn't mean silence, and they're determined to keep the world from looking away. Maria?
Thank you, Hafsa. CTV's Hafsa Arif for us in the news center this evening. No doubt a very stressful situation. All right, heading over to the anchor desk now where Todd Battis is standing by with a look at the day's headlines. Hi there, Todd.
Hi there, Maria. Testimony continued today at the double murder trial of Jansen Baker. Baker is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Rosemary and Bernard Saunier. The couple were shot in their home in Dieppe in 2019. Today, an acquaintance of the accused took the stand. We'll hear what he has to say tonight at 6 o'clock. As Halifax water customers wait to hear about the latest rate increase by the utility, which could be as high as 12.1% by the month's end and a further 6% in April, the utility says it needs some money to deal with aging infrastructure. Opponents say this is an unfair burden on customers. You'll hear from all sides tonight at 6 o'clock. There will be no ice fishing huts approved on the Kennebecasis River this winter. Not ones made of wood anyway. That's from the town of Rossay. Pop-up style huts, well, they're still permitted. But the wooden huts that have been a staple of the frozen river for, well, really for decades, like that one there, will not be allowed. Too many ice fishermen leave their structures to sink to the bottom of the river, and the town doesn't want any more of it. We'll hear from them tonight in your newscast. Kayla Mitchell with us now in the CTV Weather Center, and I don't know, is there enough thick ice to support those right now anyway? It's really been that freeze-thaw cycle.
Yeah, it has been over the last weekend a bit, but it was sort of seasonably cold as we went through the month of December, as well as through the first part of January for a good portion of New Brunswick. Of course, anybody heading out on the ice, whether it's ice fishing or for any other purpose, should always be checking that thickness of that ice before heading out to make sure it is safe. Temperatures right now across the region as we're moving into this evening are sitting a few to several degrees below the freezing mark. Wind chill's a little bit of a factor as the winds have been gusty today and even high for eastern parts of the region where there were wind warnings in place throughout much of the day, though those warnings are beginning to end now. We'll take a look at that situation in a moment. Here's where we stand with the sustained winds. In a lot of cases, they're being sustained between around 20 and up to around 30, 40 kilometers per hour. Now, there are some exceptions to that. Some coastal areas are reporting some stronger winds, including the weather station at North Cape and Prince Edward Island, 59 kilometers per hour there. Briar Island, 52. Grand Etang, 57 kilometers per hour in the Sydney airport with a sustained wind near 59 and a gust right now sitting at 91 kilometers per hour. And Cape Breton is still underneath a wind warning. Those strong winds occurring in the wake of that weather system that brought us a snowy and icy mix of weather to the region. Some rain as well to close out this past weekend. There's wind warnings out for Cape Breton and a winter storm warning continuing for Inverness and Victoria counties, maybe an additional 5 centimeters of snow. This situation, though, will be improving as we move through this evening and tonight. More on that forecast later on. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. So women's hockey took center stage in a couple of maritime cities over the weekend. The PWHL was back in Halifax, and as CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, it's been a sea of red and white in Cape Breton, where the World Under-18 Women's Hockey Championship is heating up.
To say the least, it was a night when women and girls took center stage. Boylston, Nova Scotia's Kendall Doiron scored a goal and an assist in the first period to help set the tone, and the party was on Saturday night in Membertou. These little girls brought a sign worthy of national TV, and they were happy to show it off a little more.
I think it's really cool, and I just love to watch Canada play. Just it's so fun.
It's beyond my expectations on what was going to happen.
While the spotlight was largely on the girls on the ice and in the stands, Membertou First Nation was only too happy to share it.
We want to make sure that they have really good memories when they get back home, and a lot of our own culture is seen in other countries.
I'd stay here until 6 tomorrow morning and not sleep again tonight.
Local volunteers have been pulling long hours here at the World Under-18 Women's Hockey Championship, but they say it's been worth it.
I think it is already a perfect event. And I mean, we want Team Canada to win. And that would make it the best. That would be the icing, the cherry on the cake for sure.
In the end, Canada beat Switzerland 9-0 to take their opening game, though the score didn't really seem to matter. And some in the stands here were also well aware that down the highway in Halifax, the PWHL was making its second takeover tour stop with a game between Boston and Ottawa Sunday at a sold-out Scotiabank Centre.
It's female hockey. It's something that's growing tremendously, and we hope to help it grow.
Go, Canada, go!
Canada's next game is Monday evening here in Membertou against Hungary. Ryan McDonald, CTV News on the Membertou First Nation.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Yes, go Canada, go. And speaking of women's hockey, coming up at 6 o'clock, a bigger discussion from the PWHL about what we need to do to get a team on the East Coast. So that's coming up at 6. Right now, though, time for a break. When we come back, the adventures of Natalie Hazel.
She loved everybody. She had a heart of gold.
A morning mom put pen to paper to cope with her unimaginable grief. Remembering Natalie, next. Welcome back. A Maritime mom came up with a way to deal with her personal grief after the devastating loss of her daughter. As CTV's Emma Convey shows us, she's written a book to help her cope and to keep Natalie's memory alive.
This is my cabinet for Natalie. It has kind of all of her pictures.
It's been nearly 2.5 years since Courtney Harnish and her husband Nick lost their 6-year-old daughter Natalie.
She was the sweetest little girl. She loved everybody. She had a heart of gold.
Courtney says the floods that hit Brooklyn, Nova Scotia in 2023 changed everything. They lost their dog Molly, their home, and most devastatingly, Natalie. She was one of 4 people who died the night of July 22nd. It replays in Courtney's head.
It was terrifying. I had Christian, my son, who was 2.5 at the time, in my arms, trying to keep him above water and not knowing where she was or what was happening, and just screaming for her and not being able to even hear her.
To cope, Courtney started seeing 2 therapists, one with her husband and another on her own. Part of her therapy was writing.
I can go through every detail of that flood in my mind, and I can write it, but it kept me in a really bad place.
So she started writing happy memories of Natalie. And one place they always went as a family was the Oakland Farm Zoo, going well over a dozen times every summer. Natalie's favorite animal to see was Blueberry the black bear. Courtney turned those memories into a children's book, The Adventures of Natalie Hazel.
We're following that path through the zoo. We get to where Blueberry is, and Blueberry's not there. So then she's sad, and we're looking for Blueberry, and we see her, and Natalie gets a chance to walk with Blueberry on a leash.
Courtney says she wants her daughter to be known for who she was and not what happened to her. And this book helps share that.
If you're thinking about her, it's because you're thinking about the flood. And that's not her. I know it's a big part of what happened to her, but she was a lot more than that.
The Adventures of Natalie Hazel, A Trip to the Zoo, is available on Amazon. A portion of the proceeds will go to a sports award set up in Natalie's name at her former cheer club. Emma Convey, CTV News, Windsor, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Courtney, for sharing. Difficult story indeed. All right, Kayla Mitchell joins us now with a look at how things are shaping up out there. A little icy in spots.
Yeah, and that happens as we get one of these weather systems that rolls through with a mixture of snow and some freezing rain, followed up by the return of colder temperatures in a gusty west wind, which is exactly what we had today. So things are looking icy in this view at the Shuby Park in Dartmouth this afternoon. And I'll have more in the weather forecast coming up after the break.
Welcome back. So the Museum of Natural History in Halifax will close its doors temporarily for the next 2 weeks so they can do some maintenance and repair work. Museum officials say the renovations are overdue and will improve the temporary exhibit space, making it more appealing to future clients and patrons. It was necessary to close for the construction due to noise levels and safety precautions.
We're going to be doing some renovations on our flooring. So that's going to be in our temporary exhibit space. So we're hoping that by setting up a whole new floor, we'll be able to better accommodate upcoming exhibits as well as future endeavors.
And if you're wondering what's going to happen to the live residents, staff will remain at work during this time to care for the live animals. The museum will reopen to patrons on January 26th. And by the way, the next big exhibit, Dinosaur Explorations 2, opens on February 7th. Caitlin, I can't even believe that we're talking about February already. We're like almost to mid-January. And my goodness, 2026 has given us a mixed bag of weather so far.
Certainly had some ups and downs when it's come to the temperatures. Today's a little bit of a down day. They'll be moderating a little bit, though, as we head into tomorrow afternoon. More on that in a moment. Let's take a look, though, at our sunrise and sunset times. So we're going to the Rothsay area in New Brunswick. Looks like a little bit of ice fishing going on there. Remember, you need about 4 inches of clear, solid ice to be safe as an individual out on the ice. And then, you want 5+ if you're going out as a group. I did get a report from a viewer, Bathurst area, area for some ice fishing. That some of the ice thickness is sitting at around 11 inches, so that certainly sounds promising. Let's take a look at what's going on our weather systems map, and barometric pressure is a little bit towards the lower side as we are now in behind that low pressure system that at the end of the weekend brought the Maritimes a mixture of snow, freezing rain, and rain. Now, there were some snowfall reports of 10 to 20 centimeters across northern areas of New Brunswick, but a significant amount of freezing rain for parts of central and southern New Brunswick, parts of Prince Edward Island, and some areas of northern Nova Scotia. Now, that storm system continued to pick up strength as it moved up towards Newfoundland. That's driving a very strong pressure gradient, which is represented here by these white lines you can see all bunched up directly in behind the low. And you can see that is lying over eastern parts of the region. That is why we have still some very strong wind gusts in Cape Breton, though that pressure gradient is beginning to ease, and the winds will be diminishing as we move through this evening and tonight. Still a little bit of snow coming down in parts of Cape Breton as well. There might be a few scattered flurries for other parts of the Maritimes for this evening. After that, we're looking at partly cloudy conditions for tonight. Taking a look at our timeline then for cloud cover and precipitation, making our way towards midnight. At that point in time, looking a little bit clearer around eastern New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, parts of the north and east of mainland Nova Scotia, still cloudier in Cape Breton, and with some cloud cover that will have moved into western areas of New Brunswick and southwestern Nova Scotia. We start off the day for tomorrow pretty cloudy across the region. There'll be a low chance some flurries, Halifax and western Nova Scotia in the early morning hours. For Tuesday afternoon, though, most of the region is expected to be a mix of sun and cloud. How about those winds? They continue to diminish in Cape Breton as we move through tonight, and tomorrow's winds for the Maritimes out of the west and southwest and lighter than they were today. Sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. As far as the temperatures go, most low temperatures tonight in New Brunswick falling into a range around -8 to -12, -14 around Edmundston in the northwest, and areas near the Bay of Fundy coastline with some lows between -4 and -7. Down to around -7 for Charlottetown and communities in Prince Edward Island tonight. A lot of low temperatures for Nova Scotia, while in the north and east of that province between -5 and -8. And Halifax into the southwest, most of the low temperatures between -4 and 0. There'll be some recovery in the temperatures into and through Tuesday afternoon. So high temperatures for New Brunswick tomorrow between 0 and 5 degrees, mildest in the southwestern corner of the province, up to around 0 or +1 for most communities on Prince Edward Island, and the high temperatures on Tuesday in the forecast for Nova Scotia between 1 and 4 degrees. Let's jump forward and take a look at Wednesday's forecast. Now, on Wednesday, there is expected to be some snow that brushes into northern areas of New Brunswick. Other parts of the Maritimes, mostly cloudy with a chance of a spotty shower or a little bit of patchy drizzle. Now, temperatures on Wednesday are expected to be on the milder side, driven that way by a gusty southwest wind. And the highs will get up into the range of 4 to 7 degrees for New Brunswick, near 7 degrees for Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island, and the high temperatures for Nova Scotia between 7 and 9. Our next weather system, though, will be arriving on Thursday of this week, and this one looks like it's going to be coming directly through the province of New Brunswick. The snowy part of the weather system will be on the northern edge of it, and right now that looks like it's going to be right up around the north and northwest of New Brunswick. So that's the part of the Maritimes that is the best chance of maybe picking up some snowfall amounts of around 5 to 15 centimeters. Much of the rest of the region can expect some rain, drizzle, and fog from this weather system, as temperatures once again will be milder. You see highs 1 to 6 degrees in New Brunswick on Thursday, near 6 degrees for Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island, and the high temperatures for Nova Scotia between 7 and 9. Let's take a look at our Weather Watcher for tonight. And tonight's Weather Watcher is coming in from Brent Chevery from Chepstow, Prince Edward Island. Brent has sent us a drawing of being out ice fishing on a very cold day, thick ice there on the lake. As we talked about earlier, if you're heading out to do ice fishing, you want to do that safety check on the ice thickness first. And if you'd like to be one of our Weather Watchers, then come into CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or email kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. Time for a break. When we come back, though, we're moving one step at a time.
This way, I'm getting people the basics, and they can use it at a ceilidh or a square dance or a house party.
Kate Bretner has hit the dance floor to move in sync. Old tradition, new moves. Next.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. The new to you thing that's changed your life. Mine involves the way I make pizza tomorrow at 7.
And Password to Paradise kicks off at 6:30. All-inclusive trips to Turks and Caicos.
A new year is always a great time to try something you've never done before. As CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, some people in Cape Breton did exactly that over the weekend while learning a bit about a cultural tradition, too.
New year, new hobby. For this group, trying traditional step dancing for the first time on Saturday, that was pretty much the idea.
I think in January everybody's want to get moving, so what better way than to do some Cape Breton style dancing.
Leanne O'Coin spent the weekend putting on 3 step dancing and square dancing classes here at the Island Folks Cider House in Sydney. There were lessons for beginners like these folks and for people who have some previous experience.
For me, it's my favorite type of exercise. I grew up doing it. You don't need much equipment. You just need your feet and a pair of sneakers or some kind of shoes, and it's just about having fun.
I like dancing. I love it, actually, and I go dancing every week, every Friday and Saturday.
But Carolyn Keogh had never tried step dancing. She quickly found out that it's different.
When I'm dancing, I don't have to follow anybody's steps. I just do my own thing. But here, follow the steps. You'll get used to it, though.
At its best, step dancing is paired with traditional fiddle music. A group of step dancers on PEI even performed for Prince William and Kate Middleton during their visit to the island shortly after their wedding back in 2011.
It was amazing. We all didn't know how exciting it was going to be until we actually were on stage, saw them in front of us, smiling at us, and we just could not stop smiling the whole day.
Back in Sydney, while they might not expect to dance in front of royalty anytime soon, the idea was to get some of these newbies showing off their moves in public one day too.
I also play the fiddle. I'm a fiddler, and the music that's our goal. This way I'm getting people the basics, and they can use it at a ceilidh or a square dance or a house party.
O'Coin says these sessions were successful enough that she will likely be looking for time to teach more step dancers as the year goes on. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Thank you, Ryan. There you go. That's your inspiration to try something new this year.
That'll keep you warm on some cold winter days,
yeah.
That's for sure. Speaking of winter days, they haven't been quite as cold lately, and there's still a couple milder days ahead of us this week, but another mix of snow and rain as well. And that next weather system lined up for Thursday of this week, so we'll be talking more about that on CTV News at 6, and of course looking past that weather system as well towards the upcoming weekend.
We'll see you, Todd and Katie, at 6 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. The national news is next. Thanks for watching. Good night.